each section only once. After each section, you will hear 3 or 4 questions. You will hear the questions only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Excuse me, I'm supposed to be having my physics class in the science building, but no one's in the classroom. Could you tell me where the class is? Physics 403? Has it been moved?
Well, there's a room assignment sheet on the bulletin board outside this office.
Yeah, I know, but my class isn't listed there. There must be some kind of mistake or something. Could you look it up, please?
Okay. Let me check on the computer. It's physics, right? Wait, did you say physics 403?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, but it says here that it was canceled. You should have gotten a letter from the registrar's office about this.
What? I never got it.
Are you sure? Because it says on the computer that the letter was sent out to students a week ago.
Really? I should have gotten it by now. I wonder if I threw it away with all the junk mail by mistake.
Well, it does happen. Let me check something. What's your name?
Woodhouse. Laura Woodhouse.
Okay. Woodhouse. Let me see. It says here we sent it to your apartment on Center Street.
Oh, that's my old apartment. I moved out of there a little while ago.
Well, and I suppose you haven't changed your mailing address at the administration office? Well, that would explain it.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Question 1. Who is the woman? Question 2. Why has the woman come to the office? Question 3. According to the man, how can students find out about the location of their classes? Question 4. What happened to the letter that was sent to the woman?
But how can they cancel a class after offering it? If I'd known this was going to happen, I'd have taken it last semester.
I know. It's really inconvenient for you. I understand that. But if we don't have enough students signed up for the course, the college can't offer it. You know, it's a practical issue. Like, we can't have an instructor when there are only a few students in the class. You see what I mean?
I guess, but now I don't know what course I should take instead.
Okay, let's see. Do you have any courses you were going to take next semester? If you do, you might want to take them now and sign up for Physics 403 next semester.
Yeah, I guess I could do that. I just hope it won't be canceled again. Do you know how many people have to be enrolled in order to keep a class from being canceled?
Well, it depends on the class, but for that class, you have to have, let's see, usually it'd be at least 10 people. But since it was canceled this semester, they might even do it with less. But you know what you should do? Give the physics department a call a couple of weeks before the semester starts. They'll be able to tell you if they're planning to go through with it. It's their decision, actually.
Oh, okay. I'll do that. Thanks for the info.
No problem. Sorry about the class. Oh, why don't you go change your mailing address now? It'll only take a minute.
Oh, sure. I'll do that right away.
Question 5. Why was the woman's physics class canceled? Question 6. How many students normally need to sign up for a class to be held? Question 7. What does the man recommend the woman do before the next semester begins? Question 8. What will the woman do next?
Listening to a daily life conversation. You will hear a conversation followed by 5 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Hey, Marnie, what's wrong?
Oh, I'm just struggling about what to do. I won an award from the Creative Writing Institute for a story I wrote, and...
That doesn't sound like anything's wrong.
Well, it's a huge honor to win, and there's an awards ceremony they've invited me to attend, which I'm so excited about, but... And here's what's frustrating. I've got a biology exam that's scheduled for the same time.
Uh-oh. Well, have you talked to your professor about this?
Yeah, she said I could write a 5-page paper instead, and I have lots of ideas and know I could do a good job, but...
But what?
Well, writing a paper would take up so much time, a lot more time than studying for and taking the exam. I have lots of other schoolwork to deal with.
Oh. Or you could have someone else receive the award for you. I mean, go in your place and accept it on your behalf.
Maybe. I'd still get the award and the money that way.
Ooh, you won money too?
Yeah, pretty cool, huh? But anyways, my parents were really looking forward to coming and seeing me on stage, shaking hands with the Institute's president and all. I'd hate to disappoint them.
True. I'm sure they're really proud.
Like I said, I'm still struggling about what to do.
Question 1. Why is the woman concerned? Question 2. What solution did her professor offer? Question 3. Why doesn't the woman want to write a paper? Question 4. What solution does the man offer? Question 5. What does the woman say about her parents?
For information. You will hear a conversation followed by 6 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Why do we do the things we do? What drives us to participate in certain activities, to buy a certain car, or even to choose a certain career? In other words, what motivates us to do what we do? Well, in studies of motivation, psychologists distinguish between 2 very different types. Our reasons for doing something, our motivations, can be extrinsic. In other words, based on some kind of external reward, like praise or money. Or they can be intrinsic, meaning we engage in the activity because it pleases us internally. Both create strong forces that lead us to behave in certain ways. However, intrinsic motivation is generally considered to be more long-lasting than the other. As I said, extrinsic motivation is external. It's the desire to behave in a certain way in order to obtain some kind of external reward. A child, for example, who regularly does small jobs around the house, does them not because she enjoys taking out the garbage or doing the dishes, but because she knows if she does these things, she'll be given a small amount of money for doing them. But how motivated would the child be to continue doing the work if her parents suddenly stopped giving her money for it? With intrinsic or internal motivation, we want to do something because we enjoy it or get a sense of accomplishment from it. Most people who are internally motivated get pleasure from the activity, so they just feel good about doing it. For example, I go to the gym several times a week. I don't go because I'm training for a marathon or anything. I just enjoy it. I have more energy after I exercise, and I know it's good for my health, so it makes me feel good about myself. And that's what's kept me going there for the past 5 years.
Question 1. What is the woman's field of specialty? Question 2. What does the speaker say about extrinsic motivation? Question 3. What does the woman say about intrinsic motivation? Question 4. According to the woman, which is true about children's behavior? Question 5. Why does the woman talk about going to the gym? Question 6. Why does the speaker go to the gym?
Listening to a news item. You will hear a news item once. It is about 1.5 minutes long. Then 5 questions will appear. Choose the best way to complete each statement from the drop-down menu.
Plastic. It's all over the ocean. And for sea turtles, it's a killer. At least 1,000 die every year because they swallow plastic or get tangled up in it. So why do sea turtles run into plastic so often? And why the heck are they eating it? Scientists believed the turtles may think they're biting into their prey, like a jellyfish, when they come across some plastics. But now a study finds the smell of plastic may also be attractive. Researchers exposed 15 loggerhead turtles to different odors in the lab. They tested the animals' response to the smell of turtle food, distilled water, clean plastic, and also to biofoul plastic. That's plastic that has marine organisms growing all over it, which is a common occurrence in the sea and on beaches. The research team found that the loggerhead turtles had similar responses to biofoul plastic as to their normal food. The researchers don't know exactly what makes biofoul plastic smell so tasty to turtles, but they think a compound called dimethyl sulfide might be the culprit. So the next time you're about to buy that plastic bottle, remember, it could wind up inside a sea turtle.
You will watch a 2-minute video, then 8 questions will appear. Choose the best way to answer each question.
Well, we're here to talk about a new training program for the call centre. David, I asked you to come because you were involved in the market research we did, so I thought you could give us a short summary of the findings. And Anna, obviously, it's your customer service teams who will be affected by this.
Yes, exactly.
So we thought you might have some ideas on the best way to approach the training program. And Maria will be developing and running the training. Okay, David, could you run us through the main points from the research?
Sure.
We worked with a market research agency over a period of a few weeks to gather information about our customers and what they thought of us. And the results were, well, mixed.
Sorry, can I just check? Why was this research done? Had there been complaints or...?
Some complaints, yes, but also we are losing customers in the region and we wanted to know why.
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand. Was the research about getting customer points of view or about customer profiles?
It was to get customer feedback on the company and its services.
Right, I see.
So the results showed a few areas where customers were not happy. One of the most common, how shall I put it, issues was with the call center.
I see. Can you be more specific?
Well, basically, it seems that customers feel they are not getting good service and they are leaving us for another supplier.
Right. So are you saying customers are leaving us because of the service from the staff, or could there be other reasons too? I mean, could it be that we haven't got very good systems in place for our staff?
Yeah, could be. Anna?
Look, I have no problem with giving the staff a refresher course, but starting completely from scratch seems like a waste of time and money. They will receive training when they start anyway.
Yes, that's a good point, Anna. And we don't know yet if we will have to start from scratch. It may be that we haven't done enough to monitor their activity, and that a simple refresher course will be enough. Or it may be that we have to look at customer contact from start to finish and try to implement some new protocols. Maria?
Yes, that's right. I'm sure there's a way of dealing with this sensitively. Anna, I realize it's not easy for you to suggest more training for your staff. So I wondered if we could start with a review of the current training approach and look at what we need to do to address the problems brought up in the survey.
Yes, we could do that.
But I would need to look at the full report first, of course. Anna, I understand your point about possibly wasting time and money, so perhaps you and I could look at the report together?
Yes, okay.
Then we'll be able to decide what needs addressing and how. If it's more training, or even a complete systems overhaul.
Good idea. I brought in copies of the report. Perhaps we could start with the highlights first.
Listening for viewpoints. You will hear a report once. It is about 3 minutes long. Then 6 questions will appear. Choose the best way to answer each question from the drop-down menu.
Encouraging forestry practices that are sustainable ecologically has always been a challenge. That's why, in recent years, an international organization has started issuing certifications to wood companies that meet high ecological standards by conserving resources and recycling materials. Companies that are certified by this international organization advertise their products as being eco-certified, which is an attractive feature for many consumers. In North America, there are arguments for and against becoming eco-certified, which we will briefly review here. First off, critics say that North American consumers are generally exposed to so much advertising that they would not pay any attention to the eco-certification label. These days, so many mediocre products are labeled as new or improved that most consumers in the region have now lost their faith in such labels and in advertising claims on the whole. Advocates, on the other hand, argue that North American consumers draw a distinction between claims that companies make about their own products and those made by independent certification agencies. Most of the public has a lot of confidence in these independent agencies. Thus, ecologically minded consumers will probably react favorably to wood products that are ecologically certified by an independent organization with an international reputation for being trustworthy. A second issue pointed out by critics is that eco-certified wood ends up being more expensive than uncertified wood because in order to earn the eco-certification label, a wood company needs to pay to have its business examined by a certification agency. This additional cost gets passed on to consumers who are normally strongly motivated by price and therefore likely to choose cheaper wood products, even though they're not certified. In the same way, North American wood companies will surely prefer to keep their prices low rather than to obtain eco-certification. Now, while advocates admit that North American consumers generally care about price, they refer to studies that have looked at how consumers make purchasing decisions. The findings of these studies reveal that price alone determines consumers' decisions only when the price of one competing product is much higher or lower than the other. When the difference between the two products is small, however, say less than 5%, as is the case with certified wood, customers in North America will make their decisions based on factors other than price. And we know that North American consumers are becoming increasingly convinced of the value of preserving and protecting the environment.
Glad the semester is finally over. I just finished my final exam, so I'm taking off for summer vacation tomorrow. Aren't you?
I wish.
What do you mean?
I have to rewrite the lab report for my biology class. I guess I did it all wrong, so the professor's making me rewrite it before he'll submit a final grade.
I guess that's better than if he just gave you a bad grade on it, right?
I guess so, but I was planning on leaving town tomorrow too, and now I'm not sure I can. I spoke with the professor, and he gave me two options. I can either turn in the revised report in 1 week and get my grade, or he said I can wait. Take an incomplete in the class and submit the paper next semester in the fall.
So are you going to stay around to revise the report?
I could. I'd get the grade for the class on time, and I wouldn't have to think about it anymore. But there's a family reunion this weekend. I was really looking forward to it. If I stay around to revise the report, I'll miss the reunion.
Well, maybe you should take your time and work on the report over the summer. You can submit it when you return in the fall semester and get your grade then.
That'd be fine. But what if I need materials from the library to revise the report? I don't know if I'd be able to find the materials at the library at home.
Hi, can I help you?
I hope so. My name's Mark Whitman. I'm,
Don't I remember you from last year? You worked in, where was it? The art library?
Yeah, well, you're good. That was me, and I really enjoyed the work.
Right, yeah, your supervisor gave us some really great feedback at the end of the year. Oh, he's so organized, always on time, helpful.
Really? Well, I'm glad. It was a good job.
Well, we usually try to match students' jobs with their academic interests.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what career I'm headed for, but librarian is a possibility. It was a great experience to learn how it works and meet some people working in the field. But for this year, well, that's what I wanted to ask about.
Oh, how come you waited so long to come in? You know how fast campus jobs fill up. If you'd come in earlier, you could probably have gotten a library job again. I mean, since you have the experience from last year, you don't need the training and all. But it's been filled now.
Yeah, I know. But I'd planned to get a job working at a restaurant off campus this year. I really need to make more money than I did last year. And working as a waiter, there's always the tips. But I've tried a ton of places and I haven't found anything. I know it's really late, but, well, I was wondering if maybe there was some job that hadn't been taken, or maybe someone started a job and, had to drop it or something.
Well, I doubt you'll find anything.
Could you possibly check? I know it's a long shot, but my friend Suzanne, she takes photography classes in Harrison Hall, and she sort of thought there might be an opening in the janitorial staff.
Why does your friend, the photography student, think she has information about a janitorial staff opening? I'm pretty sure those jobs are filled. In fact, I remember taking lots of applications for them. Let me double check it online.
She said the whole studio arts building, and especially the photo lab, have been kind of, sort of messy lately. I mean, she says there's chemicals and stuff left out, and, it's like no one's been cleaning up. Oh, but that could just be, students using the lab after hours or something, like after it's been cleaned.
Hang on. There is an asterisk next to one of the job numbers here. There's a note. Let's see. Your friend's right. Seems like one of the student janitors quit a couple of weeks ago for some reason. Well, whatever. It looks like this is your lucky day.
Wow, that is so great. So, who's the contact person?
Check with the janitorial office.
Fine. Thanks so much.
Okay, so we've been discussing how companies use advertising to help sell their products. Now, although advertisements can benefit companies, there are people who are critical of advertising because of certain environmental problems it can cause. So let's talk about 2 ways advertising can be seen to negatively affect the environment. One way is by wasting natural resources, like trees, by advertising to consumers who do not have a need for the product or service. The advertisement's irrelevant or useless for them. For instance, a piece of mail I got advertising a kitchen renovation service. A whole big booklet, lots of paper, about different ways to remodel your kitchen, changing the floors, adding new cupboards or appliances. But this was all a lot of wasted paper, wasted trees, because I don't even own my place. I rent an apartment. So a kitchen renovation service is irrelevant to me. I can't use it. And I'm sure that booklet was mailed to lots of other people who also rent and who just threw the booklet in the trash because they have no need for a kitchen renovation. Now, additionally, advertising can have a negative effect on the natural beauty of the environment. People are often less able to enjoy the beauty of the natural surroundings if there are large advertisements blocking their view of the landscape or distracting them from the natural beauty around them. Let's face it, no matter how beautiful an area of nature is to begin with, its beauty is damaged by visible advertisements. So, like, for example, this happens with big advertisements on the side of roads, huge billboards. Say there's a road passing through a beautiful area in the mountains, but there are all these big billboards advertising restaurants and products along the side of the road. The land is naturally very beautiful, but you can't fully appreciate it. The big billboard advertisements get in the way.
Binoculars are handy, whether you're birding, boating, or just sitting in the cheap seats. They can also be bulky, heavy, and a pain to carry around. But imagine if contact lenses could be made to magnify images and serve as tiny wearable binoculars. Swiss and US researchers are working on just such an optical prosthetic, with funding from the US Defense Department. The device is a very thin reflective telescope inside a rigid contact lens just 1.5 millimeters thick. When worn with a special pair of glasses, the effect is said to be like looking through a pair of low magnification binoculars. The lenses let you switch between normal vision and a view that's magnified nearly 3 times with the wink of an eye. The glasses help the contacts distinguish between intentional winks and involuntary blinks. The research team unveiled their latest prototype at the recent American Association for the Advancement of Science annual meeting. The technology could be worn on healthy eyes, which could mean checking certain baseball players' A-Rod to make sure they're not wearing a pair. But it's really designed to help the visually impaired, especially those with age-related macular degeneration. If the system succeeds, it could offer a non-surgical option to help improve failing vision.
Hi, Professor. I was hoping to ask you a few questions about the class you're teaching next semester, the course on Polish drama. I was thinking of taking it.
Well, that's an upper division course. You don't look familiar to me. Are you a student in this department?
No, actually I'm not.
Okay. Have you had other classes in the Slavic languages department here or somewhere else?
No, that's the thing. I was just wondering how good my Polish would have to be, whether the class is taught in Polish or not.
Well, you'd have to have some knowledge of it. By that level, a lot of the students are quite fluent. Plus, there are some native speakers in the department. And we don't plan for it to happen, but it's pretty common for the discussions to kind of move in and out of English and Polish, and it can be difficult to follow. So, how well do you speak Polish?
Not so great. It's just that my father's from there, so I'm interested in learning about, Polish history, Polish culture. Plus, I'm studying drama. I'll probably major in it. I love plays, so I thought your course might be perfect.
To be honest with you, you have to realize that we'll be watching videos of performances and maybe, if we can swing it, even watch a live performance, and those won't necessarily be in translation. Also, texts. Texts are sometimes available in translation, but even then some references will be to the original. I'd hope you'd be fairly confident in reading.
To be honest, it sounds totally over my head.
You know what? I believe they'll be offering a survey course on Polish literature. Let me check here. Yes, I thought it was being offered this time. Professor Jaworski's teaching it. Let's see, it covers the major works, epic romantic poetry, the novels, and it does cover 1 or 2 plays.
And this is in English?
Yes, you'll be reading mostly English translations, and the discussions will be in English.
Novels and poetry.
They'll provide you with a great historical context for the plays, so when you do get to them, you're going to really have a feel for the times they lived in, so to speak. Plus, this course might also give you the impetus to learn more Polish, get it to the level where you'd be ready for the other class.
A thought experiment is a type of experiment that's carried out only in our imagination. These types of experiments help us to consider a hypothesis, theory or principle for the sake of thinking about its results and consequences. The swamp man is one famous thought experiment designed by the American philosopher Donald Davidson. He first introduced it in his 1987 paper titled Knowing One's Own Mind. The experiment goes something like this. Suppose Davidson went out for a walk in the swamp one day and gets hit by lightning and dies as a result. Magically, at the exact same time, in another part of the swamp, the lightning rearranges some molecules into the exact same form of Davidson's body, molecule by molecule. This new being, which he calls the swamp man, is identical to Davidson down to the smallest respects. Now, the big question is the swamp man really a person? Can the swamp man think? Does this being have the same thoughts as Davidson? And does he have the same memories and recognize the same people? There are two broad reactions to this thought experiment: the internalist's response and the externalist's response. Let's start with the internalists. This group argues that the swamp man will be no different from Davidson. This outcome results from their belief that conscious experience and thoughts are causal conclusions of electrochemical processes that the brain produces, rather than just being their formal representations. In other words, they say that the brain is the seat of the mind, and its physical structure forms and defines the mind. While they do acknowledge the virtual impossibility of an atom-by-atom copy of Davidson, they argue that such a being would be a Davidson, if not the Davidson. Externalists, on the other hand, think that conscious experience is in no way reducible to electrochemical reactions of the brain, and hence neural structure. So basically, what they're saying is that the mind is more than the physical constituents of the brain. Davidson's experiences and causal history are what make him who he is. If you take away all of this causal history, the individual will be left without any causal background of thought and thus any cognizance. Any utterance made by this being will have no meaning. Therefore, not only is the swamp man not Davidson, but it cannot even be seen as a human at all.